get the week started off, and I'm not doing so hot on these goals, which are just to get the videos out by 1 p.m. and keep them on topic. I mean, here it is, 6:30 over here. But I am going to get the video out on the day. That's important. Anyway, it's Monday evening. Time to show up. I'm showing up. Glad you showed up. I appreciate every single one of you. And do the little YouTube dance. Like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. I have had a rough day. My dad has a problem with his hands, and it's some sort of palsy. He doesn't have a clear answer on it. We can never get clear answers out of doctors because as you get older, you start to have more and more problems that doctors have not seen before because every human being is an individual. And your particular problem is usually not one problem. It's a confluence of multiple problems that have now created a symptom. And you're saying, what is this symptom from? And they're like, I don't know. Have you checked WebMD? What are the options there? And I don't know how much of this I can blame on doctors being doctors, because doctors have always kind of been like this. But also, the doctors that we're seeing keep getting younger and younger and dumber and dumber. And they haven't read your chart for some reason. And you'll go in and you'll say, so I've been having this problem. And they're like, and you want to know why that is? No, I've been having this problem for years. It's in my chart. And we've got too few doctors seeing too many patients. And a necessary byproduct of youth is an experience. So it's not going well for healthcare in America. It's not going well for healthcare anywhere. I don't think anywhere in the world is having dramatically improved healthcare outcomes. But yeah, things are getting bad in the U.S. Even when you have fairly good health coverage, which we do. So anyway, back on topic. Sometimes my dad wakes up and his hands are shaking too much, and because his hands are shaking too much, he can't do anything. And today, in particular, it is the holiday season, and my mother has problems. So she decided that the light fixtures in the upstairs hallway needed to be taken apart and cleaned. In the process of taking them apart and cleaning them, I dropped a 10-inch crazed glass globe and broke it. I dropped it a fairly short distance, like half an inch, and it just shattered. And man, it was a bad shatter too. But I dropped that globe and it broke. And when she went looking for how much it would cost to get a new one, it would be $80. And my dad made the fairly reasonable observation: for $80, you could just buy whole new light fixtures to go up there. Like, you could get a whole new light for $40. And if you got two of them, we could just replace both of the lights. And then we'd have like a whole new lights. And my mom thought about that and thought about that and thought about that and ultimately spent $500 ordering new lights. because she doesn't like any of the $50 light fixtures. She likes the $250 light fixtures. And so she orders these expensive light fixtures, and my dad cannot leave well enough alone. It's fairly trivial to splice wires, but I want you to imagine for a moment a hallway maybe 12 feet long. This is the hallway that these two light fixtures are hung in. And instead of just letting me install the light fixtures, he insisted that he should help. With his palsied hands. So I want you to imagine that you got a man in his late 50s who's up on a ladder replacing a light fixture, and a man in his late 70s on another ladder right next to it helping. In a 12-foot hallway. So that was my day. I mean, that's a shitty situation in the first place. Even if the guy in his 70s doesn't have palsy and a general inability to hold still. On top of which, we're on ladders in a hallway next to a staircase. And it's incredibly nerve-wracking knowing that if your dad makes the slightest little misstep, he can tumble off the ladder, over the railing, and down the staircase. And chances are good that if that happens, you don't have a dad anymore. Fucking nerve-wracking. Now, because of that, it's fairly hard for me to concentrate on much of anything today, because that was my day, and I'm still recovering from it. But you know, you have to show up and do your thing, and I'm still thinking about the user interface for my game. And more importantly, what I'm thinking about is how I'm going to make that interface look good. And that's a matter of ornamentation. So we're going to talk a little bit about ornamentation and about how it works. Because fundamentally, let me fire up Clip Studio Paint here. Fundamentally, the issue that you're working with using ornamentation is this. Open the picture with the color profile. Okay. That's new. I just upgraded to 4.2.1, I think it is. Had the December upgrade. It's, yeah, 4.2.1. I think they got tired of the 420 jokes immediately and released an update to put a stop to them. So anyway, when you're working with ornamentation, oh, I've got a square. Yeah, I've got a square sheet here. Okay, so anyway, when you're working with ornamentation, I have to work with a tablet that insistently resets its working area every so often for no good reason. But when you're working with ornamentation, typically what you have is you have something like this. You have this rectangle that is filled with a color. That's the wrong color. How about that? That looks good. Okay. So you've got this rectangle that's filled with color. And that rectangle filled with color is fairly boring. So what you want to do is, over top of that, you want to put something over top of that. You want to put something that that makes things look more interesting. So you want to take, like, I don't know, a kind of golden color. And you want to go around the outside. And there's this trick that works fairly well in designing this kind of thing. You want something to look 3D. What you need is a highlight color on one side, well, on two sides. You want it to be lighter in the direction the light is coming from. And then you want it to be darker in the direction the light is not coming. You just do that, and then you do the same thing on the inside. You're just doing 3 lines. What you're doing. And that gives you a fairly convincing 3D look. So you can just do that, and that's one thing. But then you also want to have some kind of additional thing on it, and I'm not really sure what I want to do with that. Like, if we want to do, I don't know, a flower. If we just do a flower, then we can just scroll in, and let's do some swatches here. Now, once we've done this flower, we can go into the flower, and we can give that a 3D appearance by giving it a highlight in this direction. and a shadow in that direction. And we can do that for each of these. And this will make it appear that the flower has a sort of a 3D appearance. I haven't done a very good job on this bit right here. But just that simple little trick, if you want something to stick out, figure out which direction the light is coming from, and you put a highlight in that direction. If this thing is sticking out, you're going to have light there, and you're going to have shadow there. But if you have an indentation in the middle, then you do the opposite. You highlight part where it comes up, and you low light the part where it goes down. And you see that close up, it's shockingly low resolution. But when you back up from it, it starts to have that illusion of being a three-dimensional object. So if you just build whatever thing you're working on, is draw the basic shape of it, and having drawn the basic shape of it, you just come into your shadow color and you just go, this sticks out. So got a shadow on the bottom and a shadow on the left, and it's got a highlight on the right and the top. And then you can use actual like white, give it even more contrast there, and you could use actual black, give it more contrast here, bottom. Scroll in, it looks fairly dumb. Scroll out, and you get that three-dimensional look and feel to it. And it just happens. I'm immensely tired, and I haven't really thought about this very much. But kind of the thing that I'm looking for on this is I want this sort of I want some kind of interface, and I like the idea of the status bar going up. I like the idea of it filling up and then getting up to the top and then up at the top to get a level. And maybe that means the level is up here. So we would do a sort of level, and here's the gauge. And then over here, I like the idea of having this kind of round thing. For some reason, I like the idea of that. So I figure I'll do a special gauge of some sort here, and maybe there's a level of special gauge there. One of the ideas I've been having for the special gauge is that you charge your special gauge by earning levels. So it's like every time you go up a level, you fill your special gauge a little bit. But I don't know. Going up a level seems a bit rough. But anyway, you would fill up individual bits of your special gauge, and then when you got to the top, you would get a 1 for the power of your special, and then you could keep going. And as you kept going and you gained like additional levels, then I'm debating whether I want that same 5-step process, and that would probably be a light on the inside. So every time you fill up one of these, the light would come on, and then once you filled up all 5 of them, it would drop back down to 1, and your level would go up in here. So that would be your special level, and then when you actually used your special, then your level would drop back down to 0, and you'd have to start over again. But your special attack would do more damage as your level increased on that. And that's still kind of nebulous. And like I said, I'm still not sure that I want a special gauge, but I like the idea that you can have this kind of interface, and you can just turn the special gauge part off. This part you could just turn off. And then you just have, the gauge coming up and the level at the top. And I still need a gold display and a time display. I'm not sure I like the idea of gold in this game. I think maybe I want to use something else's currency, but I don't know what. Maybe we use an image of a purse. To do like a little sort of belt pouch looking thing and have a number on it. I'm still thinking about how to do this. I'm not sure exactly how I want to do it. I did want to come in here and kind of talk about it and say that fundamentally, the idea here is, here's your screen. We got the timer in the middle, and then over here on the side, we have our level our experience gauge, our special meter, and then the money gauge. I was thinking maybe we put the money gauge over here. Maybe we put the money gauge here. We have time, money. And then here in the middle is your character. And then that would be sort of what everything looks like. So you'd have your minutes and seconds. And this is sort of the way that I'm thinking about it looking. I don't know exactly what the money display is going to look like over here. I don't want to have anything down here in the bottom area because I feel like that's going to be a major area where stuff comes into playfield. Another thing that I got to think about is like when you're walking behind things, do we have your character show through? And I don't think it's necessary because the way things are implemented, your character's always in the same place on screen. If your character could move around the screen, it would matter if you could see them. But if you know the character's in the middle of the screen, then you know roughly where they are no matter what might be in front of them. So I don't think that's necessary. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking about in terms of graphics. And I know this isn't a very good episode, but at least it has some useful shit in it. I mean, the little 3D trick, just highlight the top and shadow the bottom, and highlight the right from your perspective, and shadow the left. You just you draw a bright corner and a dark corner with a frame in the middle, and that's also how you build buttons, you know. And I need to think in terms of how I want that done. Meanwhile, I'm going to do a little bit of ranting right here at the end. Right here at the end, just before the end of the show, I have absolutely rage quit Death Stranding because of the battle with Higgs. You get to this one part of the game and you have to fight Higgs, who is a boss. And immediately before you go to the battle with Higgs, you announce to Fragile, I'm not going to take any weapons. What? Hideo Kojima has a reputation for certain things, and I was starting to reconsider whether I could use that reputation to just go, oh, it's a Kojima game, fuck it. No, I'm not interested. The whole Metal Gear series, just absolute garbage from my perspective. Didn't even play most of them. The ones that I did play, I played a little and that was it. And it was over at a friend's house because it was like when you would go over to your friend's house to play video games. That was a thing once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was no way in hell that you could get all of the video games. And there was one kid in your neighborhood or one friend in your circle who got a copy of a game, and you would go over to their house and play it. Or you would borrow it and play it over at your house for a while and then give it back. Game companies don't like this. That's one of the things that has gone away with digital copies of games is you couldn't easily go over to your friend's house and borrow their game. With a physical copy, you could buy a copy on the used market, or you could borrow your friend's copy and give it back later. But digital stuff doesn't let you do that. Oops. spilled a bit. I hate it when that happens. Anyway. Anyway, I got to the Higgs battle, and Kojima has a reputation for, first of all, having gameplay that is interminable. You have a thing to do, and the thing is going to take a really long time, and you have to, there's a lot of stealth stuff, and Death Stranding is no exception. There is stealth stuff. But it's reasonable. It's not too difficult. And he has a reputation for doing a lot of cutscenes, and the cutscenes are really long, and you spend a lot of time watching them. Death Stranding has done a very good job of, number one, not delivering game-critical information during the cutscene. So you can skip the cutscene and you're fine. You don't have to watch them. But if you do, the storyline is compelling, and the acting is great, and the graphics are great. They're very good cutscenes, and there's a very good storyline, and there was a point where I'm fairly certain I had to watch over a half hour of cutscenes. And I didn't really mind because they were good. They were good cutscenes showing a good story. And after I watched them, I was like, you know, even on another playthrough, I wouldn't have seen this cutscene in a long enough time that I could watch it again. I could do that. I could watch these cutscenes again and enjoy them because the story is that good and the acting is that good. And can I just say that there's this weird kind of competition right now going on between Margaret Qualley and Mia Goth for who is going to be the creepy, weird it girl after Aubrey Plaza? Because they're both really, really good at it. And I don't know. I think people might actually be picking sides and choosing teams on that front, but holy crap, they're both just amazing, and I love that. I really do. Because they're less awkward creepy, and they're more like deliberate creepy. No, like I'm seriously fucked up kind of creepy. And I like that. I think that's really cool. I think Margaret Qualley's work in The Substance, she was so perfect in The Substance. But Mia Goth in the Pearl trilogy, oh dear God, in Triple X and Pearl and Maxine, oh, good. She's so good. And that's just they're both so good. We have two amazing actors doing amazing work in the creepy weird girl genre. And yes, I'm here for that. That's awesome. Jenna Ortega is kind of in the running for that, but because she's doing Wednesday, which is sort of sanitized, it's although, I think she also did, what is it? The cherry flavor thing? Hold on. Let me check the title on that. Was that Jenna Ortega? It was on Netflix. Brand new cherry flavor. Yes, that was Jenna Ortega. That was good and weird and creepy, and I thought it was fucking excellent. So yeah, Jenna Ortega I think is in the mix somewhere, but I'm not sure because the question is, whether you think Aubrey Plaza's weird, creepy girl performance is highly sexualized. I think it is, because I think that's fucking hot. But Margaret Qualley and Mia Goth both do highly sexualized roles. And Jenna Ortega, not so much. She does a lot of fairly desexualized roles. So I don't know if I would count Jenna Ortega as being in the running for that, because I don't know, because I think Aubrey Plaza's roles are typically sexualized, and so are Mia Goth's, and so are Margaret Qualley's. But Jenna Ortega's not so much. Although some of them are sexualized, some of them are not. It's just that Wednesday is very deliberately desexualized, which I think Hollywood has been able to do really, really well. I think the poster girl for that is Melissa Benoit. Or Benoit, I don't know how to pronounce her name. I've heard people say Benoit, and I'm like, is that right? Are you supposed to say Benoit like that? That's the only thing I've heard people say. I would go Benoit, but nobody says that. And obviously there's the connection with Japanese Benoit balls. So I guess maybe she doesn't want people to say that. But regardless, in the Supergirl series, she's very deliberately and very well desexualized, so you don't typically think of her in a sexual way, unless you have problems. If you have problems, then you think of everything in a sexual way. I kind of have problems, but I recognize that the role is desexualized, and it's supposed to be desexualized, because you're not supposed to want to bone Supergirl. That's not what they're going for with the Supergirl series. It's not, don't you want to fuck this? Really not what they're looking for. And I haven't watched the whole series, obviously. So, I don't know, maybe they sexualize her later in the series, but in the first season and a half, they definitely didn't sexualize her, and they did a very good job of desexualizing that role. And I like that we do that. I like that we take roles and go, this is not supposed to be sexy, and we make it not sexy. And we do that well. Coraline's another good one. Coraline was a great one where they made Coraline very much a girl, but very much not a sexual object. And it's not that they couldn't. It's not that the medium itself desexualized Coraline, because the other mother has a deep, dark sexual component that just like runs straight through it. So they can do that. Anyway, I've gotten off the topic. That boss fight with Higgs was such absolute bullshit. Just the whole bondage and discipline aspect of, hey, for this boss fight, no weapons. What? No, I would not say that. I would not do that. I am a bring weapons with me kind of guy. That's my thing. I bring weapons with me. I bring weapons with me everywhere, even when I don't need them, because you never fucking know. And here I am walking into apparently the last boss fight of the game, and I go, I'm not going to take any weapons. That's a terrible idea. I wouldn't do that. Why are you making me do that? That's absolute bullshit. And because of that, because it was absolute bullshit, and because I found it so difficult, because I hate boss battles, I especially hate boss battles that are a riddle, that are, this is really, really difficult to do because we have stacked the deck against you. So fight this unfair battle until you figure out the exact way to win it. And, oh, hey, then there's a second stage. This isn't even my final form. I don't watch Dragon Ball. But, I hated that Higgs battle so much that I went, I don't have to play this. I can quit. I can go back to a previous save. I can just go do the fun part of the deliveries in the open world, the part that I was enjoying and thought was such a great game, and thought Hideo Kojima had finally made a truly excellent game that didn't fucking suck. And then I got to this one boss battle and it ruined the whole thing. I can't enjoy the rest of the game anymore. It pisses me off to even think about playing that game in any way, because I don't know what the because is on this. I probably need to delve into it and unpack it, but oh my God. The idea that I'm going through all of this so I can enter the last boss fight as stupidly as possible, it has just soured the whole game for me. I uninstalled the fucking thing. I don't care. I don't have to do this, so I'm not going to. You don't have to do this. This applies to any game that you're not having fun playing. Are you stuck on the Uma Musume treadmill? Are you stuck playing Destiny? Are you stuck playing endless matches of Call of Duty? Just stop. You can just stop. You can say, I'm not going to do this anymore, and just not fucking do it. If you're a Fortnite junkie and you're stuck in this most predatory game of all time that is targeted directly at children, that markets directly toward children, yeah, Tim Sweetney's the devil. Yeah. If you're stuck in that, you can just stop. You can just stop doing it. You can play something else. There's nothing special about this game. The amount of money that you may have dumped into it already, that's gone. And none of the things that you've bought with that money are real. That money's gone, and the things aren't real. You can walk away. You can leave them. You can go. If you're attached to them, that's fine, I guess, as long as it's not decimating your budget. I play the shit out of GTA Online. I've got a lot of cars and houses and businesses that aren't real. But I haven't spent any money on them. I bought the game and that was it. So I don't really have a problem with that, because I'm not dumping more money into it. If you're dumping too much time into a game, you don't have to dump that time into the game. You can play something else. You can do something else. Go play other stuff. Not just the one game all the time. I know that's rich coming from the guy with like 4,500 hours in Starfield. Is it 45 or is it 35? It's 35. It's 3,680.1 hours at this point. Ooh, Vampire Therapist is on sale. I don't want to play Vampire Therapist right now. I probably do want to. I have to go back to Grand Theft Auto because it's. I think it's tomorrow. No, day after tomorrow. It's the day after tomorrow that the Mansions DLC drops. A safe house in the hills. Oh man, that's going to be a thing. I'm marking time and dreading the drama, because that DLC is going to drop, and I think the mansions are going to be way more expensive than people think, and they're all going to get mad. But hey, that's what always happens. People are always mad at what happens in Grand Theft Auto. It doesn't matter what it is. They just did that to make you buy shark cards. It's not like it goes away after the first week. It's not like you can't buy the mansions except the launch week. It's just you're attached to this idea of, I'm going to buy it right now. I just got my yacht 2 weeks ago. because they put them on sale, and then re-earned all of my money by doing yacht missions and other shit. But yeah, that's it's going to be interesting watching the fallout when this happens, when the Mansions DLC comes out. I do need to go back to Starfield at some point in the near future, though, because I am jonesing for it. I have been wanting to play it again because I get that way. I was debating about picking up the Fallout 4 Anniversary bundle that gives you like all of the DLC, but I don't know. I don't feel like that added a whole lot to Skyrim, so so maybe I don't care. You know, maybe I don't care about that. Maybe I don't want to do that. I've actually never finished Red Dead Redemption 2. I should probably do that. I should probably go and finish Red Dead Redemption 2. I've got 3 of the 51 achievements. I've completed Chapter 1 and Enter Pursued by a Memory. I think Enter Pursued by a Memory is literally like the first mission, like the cutscene. Red Dead Redemption has a lot of cutscene. I don't like games with a lot of... Red Dead Redemption doesn't have a good story. Death Stranding did. Death Stranding did have a good story. I liked the story in that. I got, how did I do on that? I did 36 out of 63 achievements. And I completed episode 8. It was in the middle of episode 9. And then they're like, fight this boss fight under the worst possible conditions. Do things you would never do. Because we need you to be stupid for this boss fight. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't know. Maybe I need to go back to Umineko when they cry. It's a slog. I've spent a lot of time going through it, and it's just I've got 27 hours in the game, and I don't feel like I've gotten much of anywhere. I just sit and stare at it a lot. I start it, and I begin going through it, and then I pause it, and I get on social media, and it just sits there and runs and racks up time. So, yeah. I don't know. It's just not. It's so fucking boring. Beatrice hasn't even showed up yet, and I don't know. Anyway, I've just been rambling for like 20 minutes, so yeah, that no point to that. So do a little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. Okay, bye.